Welcome. You're listening to Leaders Lounge live and unmuted with Steve Hamilton. Today, so many leaders are feeling stuck, isolated, and uninspired. This podcast will help you master your framework, connect with the community of leaders, and reignite the devotion for what you do. Some of the brightest leaders up today will be joining the conversation, sharing the joys of leadership, their vision of the future, uncovering blind spots and pitfalls, as well as what they do to maintain their footing. If you're looking for candid conversation, this is the podcast for you. Help us by staying connected and subscribe to YouTube as well as SteveHamiltonMinistries.com. Now let's get started.
Hello, everybody. This is Bishop Steve Hamilton. Welcome to the Leaders Lounge. And in this episode, we are excited to talk to leaders and pastors and bring you some information that's going to help you as we approach the halfway point of the year. It's interesting that this year is flying by so fast, and a lot has happened, and many of us have found ourselves kind of thrown off a little bit to a certain extent with unexpected challenges and things that we've been able to overcome so far. But the thing that all of us know as leaders that we have to be able to buckle down and adjust and pivot and all those good things. But I wanted to come on and be able to express to you three things that we want to do at this juncture of the year as we approach the halfway point, as we approach halftime. If you're thinking of it in terms of a basketball game, some things have happened in the first half, but you got to make some adjustments if you're going to continue to compete and ultimately win. I'm excited about this particular episode because we're trying to give you some information that can help boost you, help get you where you need to go, help you have the kind of impact that you wanted to have at the beginning of the year. Our subject for this episode is pause, pivot, and push. Pause, pivot, and push. What we're looking at is that at the beginning of the year, all of us had these expectations. So many of you, I'm sure, did vision boards and you set your goals and you had all of that laid out and you were expecting to have an amazing 2023, and it probably has been so far. But I guarantee you that there's some things that came up in your life and in your leadership and in your circle that you did not expect to see coming. There's some things that you were not looking, you didn't see as you looked ahead. You didn't see that around the bend, and you've now been hit with some things that may have momentarily thrown you off, or may have caused you to slow down, or may have caused you to lose some traction. Whatever the case may be, I guarantee you that at the halfway point, your year may not match your vision board. It may not be looking the same way. And that's okay, because it happens all the time. It happens every single year. We have dreams and aspirations and things that we want to see occur in our ministries, in our business, in our group, and whatever we're doing. As leaders, we want to see it happen. We look forward to it coming to pass. And we do everything in our power to make it happen. We do everything, we plan, we try to strategize with the best of our ability, but it doesn't seem to turn out all the time the way we wanted it to. So when it doesn't match your vision board, you have to make sure you take time that we all need to do at halftime of a basketball game. They take time to pause. They stop for a moment. They take time to regroup. They take time to understand that, you know what, the year isn't over yet. That even all those things, those dreams and aspirations you put on your vision board can still come to pass. And so you have to do what you can to make sure that first thing you do is catch your breath. You have to take a moment to pause. Take some time and just breathe. Catch your breath. You still have time to make this year as successful as you dreamed it would be. Take some time to catch your breath. And also another thing that most leaders don't do enough of, we don't rest. We have to take time to pause, to rest, to catch our breath, and to make sure that we are not trying to do too much. Many times we are operating with exhausted emotions. We're just worn out. We're already tired. We're already drained, and we have a whole nother half of the year to go. So it's important for us to rest throughout the year. You can't just wait for, oh, well, and get through this week. Many of us go through our entire lives saying, well, once I get through this project, once I get through this particular session or season that I've got to deal with, once I get through with this project, I'm going to be able to get some rest. And how many of us have found that that doesn't necessarily come to pass? That doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. That many times when you think, okay, once I get this, I'm going to get a little break right through here, something else has come up. Something new has arisen that you didn't foresee coming. And now you can't take the break that you planned. Or you find yourself, well, this weekend I'm not doing anything. And then, of course, the weekend that you say that, all of a sudden some last minute emergency or some last minute project comes into play, and you find that, oh, I didn't get to take that break either. Many times, even when you're on vacation, you're supposed to be resting, we're still wrapped up in our phones. We're still trying to answer or respond to emails. We're still trying to schedule things. We're still not taking time to rest. Our minds, our bodies, we're just going and going and going, and we are pushed really hard. Most of us at the beginning of the year, we push extremely hard. We do everything we can, and everything that comes to our mind, we're trying to make it all happen overnight. And most of us understand over a period of time that that's not how things work. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen because you push extra hard that weekend. It doesn't happen just because you want it to happen according to your vision board. And I'm not bashing vision boards, mind you, but I'm just saying that a lot of us have these great plans, and we've gone through these great sessions and planning sessions, and we've wrapped it up, and we got it all together, and we're ready to go in January. And we find that now that we're in June, that a lot of the things that we had planned didn't happen. Part of the reason it didn't happen was because we were tired. We were exhausted. We were emotionally drained. We were mentally drained. We were physically drained. So the first thing we need to do is pause. Pause, rest up, and then also not only catch your breath, but you got to refuel. You got to rest up your body and mind, but you also have to refuel. Get yourself prepared for the second half. Get yourself prepared so that you can finish strong. You have to take time. Everybody gets tired. Everybody gets worn down. Everybody feels like I just need a bit of a break. So the first thing we need to do is pause. The second thing we need to do is pivot. Once you have paused, once you have stopped and caught your breath, now you have to be able to make the necessary changes. One of the things we need to understand, and all of us had to learn very clearly in 2020, we had to pivot, not because we wanted to, not because it was a great strategy, but because we had to. We had to pivot and adjust. We had to get used to doing ministry in a different way. We had to get used to running our businesses a different way. We had to get used to operating and working with our team in a different manner. We had to be able to communicate in a different way. And it was important for us to do that to survive. Many businesses end up closing, or many businesses had to find themselves a different way of operating. And many churches closed down because the leaders weren't able to pivot or to adjust, or they were inflexible. They were not able to bend. They were not able to just adjust. And so once you get to that point, you realize that I didn't handle that the way I should. And many of others of us were able to say, you know what, this is working out well. This is doing great. This is a new way of operating. We're reaching new people. Many folks are finding that they're flourishing and thriving after going through that dramatic change. But now here we are in 2023. We're at the halfway point of the year. And you found that, well, a lot of the stuff I've wanted to do, I haven't been able to do it. A lot of things that I didn't see, there are a lot of things I didn't see coming. There are a lot of issues that have come up that I didn't really plan for. And here I am in the middle of the year, and I've still got a list of things I wanted to accomplish. There's still a lot that I wanted to do. And so then it's a matter of being able to pivot now. And in the middle of the year, you might find yourself having to pivot. Just like a great basketball team, a great football team, at halftime, they go into the locker room and decide, okay, we got to make some adjustments. This worked really well in the first half. This did not work well. We need to strengthen this area of our attack in order for us to win this game. We're not out of it yet, but we need to make some adjustments. Otherwise, we're going to get blown out. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to finish. And so after you have paused and now caught your breath and you have rested up and you have a clearer mind and you are refueled, now you have to make an honest assessment of where you are now. In other words, I have to look at things realistically and say, this is where we are. Not where we want it to be, but this is where we are right now. This is the reality of our situation. And once you make an honest assessment of where you are now, then and where you are in relation to the goals that you set in January. In other words, where am I as it relates to where I'm trying to go? How far are we away from where we wanted to go when we started the year? And then once I realize where I am, now I have to make the necessary adjustments, tweaks, and changes that I need to get better. In other words, there's no sense in sitting and looking at where I am and then just continuing to do the same thing over and over again. Many times what becomes frustrating, not only to leaders, but to, people on their staff, is that we know something's not working, but we don't do anything to change it. We know we're not getting where we want to go, but we're not going to ask for directions. It's like, the age-old issue, supposedly the stereotype of male drivers, that a lot of times men don't want to ask for directions. We just going to keep on going. I know this turn is coming up somewhere around here. No, at some point, you got to pull over and ask for directions. You got to be able to say, you know what? This is not working. We're not getting where we're supposed to get to. So let's make some adjustments. Let's pivot. Let's turn. Let's adjust. Let's try something different. Many of us, even as we were looking at, 2020 and some of the things we did and ways we were operating, even as a bishop, as a leader, as a pastor, I was like, well, this is working for us even during the pandemic. And so in 2020 and 2021, there were some things that really seemed to work pretty well for our ministry. But here we are in 2023, and we're still many times operating the same way we did in 2021, still kind of limiting ourselves. And so at some point as a leader, it had to be, okay, let's make some additional adjustments and tweaks and changes that may look similar to what we used to do before the pandemic, but now it may be able to fit that back in or fit it in a different way. And so you have to be willing to pivot. And we have to make the changes we need to get better. And don't allow yourself to get stuck. Don't allow yourself to get into a rut, into something that's just comfortable. One of the things I've been discussing in recent months and weeks is are you in a groove or are you in a rut? Have you found your groove, or are you finding yourself just doing the same thing over and over again, and you're stuck. Many leaders find themselves getting stuck. They get unstuck for a minute, and then they're right back into it. There's a famous video meme of someone getting a sheep out of a tight gorge, a tight little crevice, and they pull them out of the thing, and they like, oh, we're rejoicing because they released this sheep. They freed them up from being stuck in this little, this hole, this gorge, this hole in the ground. And the sheep gets on its feet and starts running and jumps right back into the rut again. And that sounds like some of us as leaders, that we find ourselves getting stuck over and over again in the same pattern, the same things over and over again. And we have to remain flexible. We have to continue to allow ourselves to be flexible, to adjust, to pivot at a moment's notice, and not to be afraid of that. Don't fear being flexible. Flexibility is one of the greatest attributes leaders can have moving forward. We have to remain flexible. We have to be able to change. We have to be able to try something new. We have to be able to adjust. And of course, one of the age-old statements that we can make as leaders is bend, but don't break. You may bend. You may find yourself being kind of pulled in different directions, or find yourself bending or adjusting in a way that you really didn't envision. But don't worry, you're not going to break. You're going to make it. You're going to succeed. And part of the journey, part of the way that you got to go in order to reach those goals that were set out at the beginning of the year is you got to be able to adjust throughout the year. You got to be able to change some things up. It's not going to be automatic. It's not going to always turn out the way you envision. And that's okay. Sometimes, to my surprise, things have turned out better than I envisioned. Sometimes things were more successful than I even thought they could be. And that's because we are able to understand the power of being flexible, the power of the pivot, the power of being able to adjust, the power of being able to bend, to be flexible, and to keep moving forward. Don't get stuck whatever you do. Make sure you're able to pivot. So the first thing we need to do is to pause, catch our breath, to get ourselves ready and available to really execute in the second half. The second thing we need to do is to pivot. All right? Adjust. Make an assessment of where you are and then adjust accordingly. The third and final thing we need to do is push. That may seem like, well, Pastor, come on now. That's easy to say. Yeah. But no, you got to make a push. You got to put forth an effort. A lot of times we as leaders, especially once we're tired, once we have exerted a lot of energy, once we have put forth a lot of effort, once we have really come through a difficult or challenging time, or even a successful time, once we do that, we kind of, okay, we're relaxed. Now I don't know if I have the energy or the desire to push further. Or sometimes you've had a successful moment and you're saying, we're good now. We don't need to really try to put forth too much of an effort moving forward. No, we are just halfway through the year. We are just halfway through the year. So my admonishment to you is to keep moving forward. Even if you're not, making a whole lot of progress, you're not going as fast as you want to go. You're not making as much progress as you thought you would by this point of the year. Don't worry. You've got to keep going. Amen. You've got to keep pushing. You've got to keep trying. It's important for us to make sure that we keep moving forward. If you're not able to run, that's okay. Just walk. If you're not able to walk, at least crawl, but keep going. Whatever you do, keep moving forward. Put forth the effort required to reach your destination. Many of us get frustrated because it seems like it's just so far to go. And we got such a long way to go. How are we going to ever get there? I don't know if we're going to ever make it. I thought I'd be further along by now. Maybe I need to just go back and retry, try another time. No, you made a lot of progress so far. You're further along now than you were when you first started. You're building slowly. Don't worry. I know as a leader, many times you want things to happen overnight. You want things done yesterday. You want things done in a split second. But I've learned over the years, in my years in leadership, is that I don't expect things to happen overnight. And a lot of the things that happen really quickly aren't the things that are going to last. So what you want to do is make sure that you're doing what you can to keep moving forward, keep making progress, keep taking steps to get where you are trying to go. You're getting closer. Don't worry. It's halfway through. Some of us were you might have been a bit ahead of the schedule. Don't worry. Don't get discouraged. Don't think, well, I should have been there by now. I should be further along. And many times the reason we feel that way is because we're measuring ourselves against someone else. We don't know what their journey is. We don't know what their assignment is. Don't compare yourself to anybody else and how quickly it happened for them. They have different circumstances. They're different individuals. They're different leaders. They have different challenges than you do. But make sure whatever you do, push, keep going. Don't stop. Keep on moving. Keep moving forward, putting forth the effort required to reach your destination. Whatever you do, keep going. You're getting there. You're getting there. Whether it's you got a weight loss goal or an exercise goal. I'm going to get up every day and do something. I'm going to exercise 3-4 times a week. And you say, well, I've only been able to do one. That's good. At least you're doing something. Move. Keep going. Keep trying. Come on. Next week is another week. You're going to keep going. You have to keep yourself motivated and moving forward. Even if you're moving slowly, even if you say, I didn't make a whole lot of progress this week, or I didn't make a whole lot of progress this month. That's okay. Keep moving. Whether it's slow, whether it's, if you have to take time and stop, that's okay. But you got to keep going. You take time and catch your breath again, but keep going. Don't give up. It's the main thought, the main idea. And you have to make sure that even if you're moving slowly, keep moving. Just keep moving. Push. And also, while you're pushing, remember to stay focused. Many times, the things that slow us down are the distractions. A lot of us think we're supposed to put out every single fire. That we have to respond to everything that's said to us or about us. And you can't keep pausing to deal with insignificant things. It's important for us as leaders to stay focused, to keep our eyes on the prize, keep our eyes on the goal, to make sure that we're not allowing little distractions to get us off track. Sometimes we have, we're getting direction, we're moving forward, we're doing well, and then all of a sudden we'll see something, or we'll hear something, or we'll take time to deviate from the path. We'll take time to, I'm gonna wait, right? I'm gonna go over here now. I'm gonna look at this, or I'm distracted by stuff that's going on around me. It caused me to lose focus. Some internal issue, some personal issues sometimes cause us to get distracted. And many times when we're easily distracted, that explains why we can't get further down the line than we are. So I encourage you to keep moving forward, stay focused, and remember, you're going to finish strong. You built up some strength, you paused, you caught your breath, you refueled. Now you've made some adjustments, and now you're moving. Don't allow yourself to get off track this time. Finish strong. We're at the halfway point of the year. We're at halftime, y'all. And so at halftime, you get a chance to catch your breath, to towel off, to make sure that you have refueled a bit. You caught your breath. You're good. All right. You got some Gatorade in you, and now it's time to go out there and let's finish. Let's finish this year strong. So I encourage you, do these three things as you're in the Leaders Lounge, as you're here, and we're having this conversation with one another. I encourage you as a leader to pause, pivot, and push. Pause, catch your breath. Make sure you're taking time to rest. Pivot, make the proper adjustments along the way, and push. Make this big push, because how you finish 2023 is going to dictate how you start 2024. Make sure that you get yourself in a position where you can finish strong so that you can start strong next year. I'm encouraged by what God is doing for us and how the Lord is leading us and how he's moving in our lives. So leaders, I want you to just take this time. These three simple things are going to be beneficial to you in the long run. It'll help you throughout the rest of this year. Make sure that you're not allowing yourself to get bogged down by every single thing that's going on around you. Make sure you don't have people that are constantly pulling you in 3 and 4 different directions. Make sure you understand, I have to keep the main thing the main thing. I have to finish strong. I have to do what I am assigned to do. And you will do that very successfully if you pause, if you pivot, and push. I encourage you to check this podcast out, share it, watch it again, listen to it again, share it with your team. Make sure that your team understands what you're trying to do and you have to have people around you that are pulling and pushing you in the right direction, making sure they're getting you where you need to go. And you have the right people with you that are going to help you get there. I encourage you, if this podcast is something that you enjoy, subscribe to it. Subscribe to our podcast. Subscribe to the Leaders Lounge, to Bishop Steve Hamilton, and make sure you share it with somebody else. Make sure you let them know, whether you watched it on YouTube or you listened to it on Spotify, whatever it is, wherever you got this podcast, make sure that you're able to share it and help some other leaders along the way. And by the way, if you'd like the notes from this particular session, please contact us at stevehamiltonministries.com, stevehamiltonministries.com, and make sure that you subscribe to everything that we're doing. We're going to be back real soon with the next episode. Stay tuned for that. We appreciate you tuning in, and I hope that something was said that's going to help you along the way. Make sure that you do these three things: pause, pivot, and push. Until next time, this is Bishop Steve Hamilton. We will talk to you soon in the Leaders Lounge.
Thanks for listening to the Leaders Lounge live and unmuted with Steve Hamilton. If you found this episode to be helpful or have a topic you'd like for us to discuss, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget your copy of the book for mature audiences only, with the self-assessment guide, Manifesting God's Divine Will for Your Life. It's available now at stevehamiltonministries.com. Until next time,